Hello and welcome to the Financial Bunny TV. My name is Nicolette Mashile. I am also known as your Financial Bunny. Today's conversation is brought in partnership with ACCA. We're talking all things the auditor journey. What does it look like? What do you need to do to become an accredited registered auditor in South Africa? But also, we want to make sure that we empower our ACCA family members. Today, we're going to get an opportunity to hear how you become a registered auditor in South Africa. And to have that conversation, I am joined by Portia Mkhabela, who is the cluster head of ACCA Southern Africa. She leads initiatives to promote the growth and development of the accounting profession across the region. Now, Portia comes with a strong commitment to inclusion and diversity, and she's been instrumental in implementing programs that inspire and empower aspiring accountants and enhance the skills of existing professionals. With an extensive experience in the finance and accounting sector, Portia is dedicated to addressing the skills gap that does exist within industry, and she advocates for the recognition of ACCA qualification. Let me tell you something. Under her leadership, ACCA has achieved significant milestones, including this recent accreditation that allows ACCA members to apply for registered auditor status in South Africa. Now, this development aims to alleviate talent shortages and promote a diverse talent pool within the audit profession. Portia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Nicolette.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. I mean, we had a conversation on a live IG, and one thing that really stood out for me in that entire conversation, one that is not ACCA, it's ACCA, but I think the second one was the need to have a great ethical, moral compass. And I want to start that conversation there because I think it's a great pickup. Why are ethics so important within industry?
As accountants and auditors, and even as leaders, CEOs, even when you are in HR, you're supposed to be ethical, you're supposed to be balanced in terms of your decision making. So it's important that in us making decisions, ethics should be the moral compass of what we stand for and what we do. So there's no way that you can be entrusted with leading an organization where you are not ethical. So ethics are the cornerstone of who we are as ACCA. Even our qualification, one of the most important thread across the three levels of our qualifications is ethics.
I'm glad we started that conversation there because, there are certain instances where you could potentially find somebody who's not a registered auditor signing off on financials. So I want to talk a little bit about the pathway and why it's so important for ACCA members.
So the pathway is important to really enhance the profession, firstly from a governance perspective and also holding people accountable. Yes. For the decisions that they are making when it comes to the financial statements. Because as you are aware, people make decisions based on the financial reports. So we need to really ensure that we work with people that are ethical and people that can actually challenge issues that they are picking up within the organization. But also we need to enhance the audit profession to ensure that we get reliable data. It also goes back to the accountants as well. So it's not only the responsibility of the auditors. So the auditor comes at the last part of the whole journey, but they need to be sure that whatever work that would have been done, they can actually rely on the data that they are receiving. So this is a value chain that cannot be broken.
Well, it's a huge congratulations to ACCA, and it's great that this development happens under your leadership. And I want to talk about that because when you need a government job, you apply on a Z83 form, you at least got one foot in. And for those of us who are not quite intimate with industry, talk to us through the process of getting this IRBA accreditation.
So the accreditation process was hectic.
Yeah.
Right? There are a number of requirements that IRBA requires us to meet. First and foremost, it's our qualification. They have to assess if our qualification is in line with the standard requirements in terms of, the professional development process, which is for people to become ACCA members, right? So that was the main key focus area. The other areas that obviously IRBA would look at is your governance structure.
Yes.
They would also look at your sustainability as an organization to say, will you be able to sustain the accreditation? But one of the key areas that I believe was an eye-opener throughout the accreditation process was the protection of personal information.
Oh, wow.
And maybe just to add, we're talking South African audit qualifications. So it's only those that are operating within South Africa who can then be registered with IRBA. And this has always been a question from members from other countries to say, how do I benefit from this particular process? Unfortunately, it's only for those that are operating within South Africa. Those that, and I think one of the key requirements was understanding of the texts and laws of South Africa so that you can apply them from an audit, responsibility perspective.
I want to talk about the pathway to registration now. What are the specific steps that an ACCA member must take to apply for that registered author status?
So one of the first requirements is that you need to have completed the ACCA qualification and that you become an ACCA member. So from an ACCA qualification perspective, we are able to recognize or give exemptions to students that have completed their BCom or their postgraduate, right?
Yes.
But one of the things that they would then need to do is to write ACCA in the South African context. We call it the board exam.
Yes.
And in the ACCA language, we call it the strategic level, which is the highest level of ACCA qualification. So you need to be a member, registered member with ACCA, and a member in good standing, by the way. You need to make sure you pay your
member fees,
everything else, and you are a member in good standing, right? And then from there, you will then apply for what we call the South African Audit Qualification, right? And that is what has been approved by IRBA based on the accreditation that we went through. So once you have done that, and I think maybe it's important for me to also highlight that within the strategic or the board exams, one of the most important modules that you need to select is what we call AAA, Advanced Audit and Assurance. So you can't become an auditor if you have not done
that
AAA. So that's a requirement over and above the two essential modules, which is Strategic Business Reporting and Strategic Business Leader. We need to test competency in terms of the outcomes of you becoming an ACCA member. And then you would apply for we call it SAAQ. And then from there, you would register for the ADP that lies within IRBA. They would assess your competency, and then they would issue the audit status. That can only be done by IRBA.
So when you say the ADP, you're talking about the Audit Development Program.
Correct. Audit Development Program.
How long does that typically take?
Requirement from an IRBA perspective is 18 months.
Okay.
But one thing that I also want to add in terms of you becoming an ACCA member is the practical experience process, which needs to be signed off by a registered professional. Anybody that is registered with either SIPA or SICA or ACCA can actually sign that off.
For you to get the qualification for ACCA and full membership, you need to be able to show that and have it signed off that you've done the actual physical work within an organization.
Correct. So there's a 36 months period that you need to compile and make sure that you can apply what you have learned.
Yes.
And then with the ADP, coming back to answer your question, it takes about 18 months. However, there are differences. So we have what we call a persona document that we have developed.
Okay.
That persona document says if you come in and want to move into an ACCA registered auditor, right, and you're coming from another professional body, we do take into cognizance prior learning.
I like to know from A you move to B, from B you move to C. There's no jumping. Yes, there might be an A.5 that you need to do, but at least you know what is next. And it creates milestones, right?
Absolutely.
What type of support do you then offer your members if they want to navigate the ADP?
the fact that we have been accredited, it means we have passed or ticked all the boxes from a development perspective. And I'm sure as you are aware that we are an IFAC member, meaning our qualification is actually approved through the IFAC, International Federation of Accountants. The support that we have really is through our continuous development programs, CPD. We also have short courses that we offer from ACCA that speaks to the latest requirements, whether be it AI, be it sustainability, be it, data analytics, business analytics. So we really keep on supporting our members to make sure that we capacitate them to be able to, perform properly within the spaces that they are in. And that includes your accountants and auditors as well.
Look, I mean, testament to, some of the accountants and auditors that we do see who are from ACCA. I mean, we had an opportunity to speak to Manager, who's been, a chartered accountant within public sector. And that's probably one of the most difficult spaces to get all of those clean audits. So I guess even the support that you are giving them helps even yourselves as a brand to show who you are able to produce. And they're doing so well within the South African context. Let's talk a little bit about how the ACCA ensures that its members are equipped with the necessary skills and knowledge to excel within the audit field. I know you spoke about CPD, courses but if we can just hone in specifically on audit field, how do you keep them up to date with trends? What's coming up?
So from a support perspective, there's obviously a global support structures that we have for both auditors and accountants from an ACCA perspective. I think I'm going to latch on again into the CPD programs that we have. We've got webinars. We normally conduct professional insights, which is research, with the likes of your PwC, the BDOs, to look at the latest trends and the latest challenges that our members are facing. And from that, we then develop courses that are going to be able to support members. We create communities where members are able to engage with each other from a global perspective. So we open up those discussions so that people can actually share best practices. We normally would host, for example, from a public sector perspective, which we'll be hosting in November, where our Auditor General will actually be in a panel. So we always interact with the public sector, the corporate sector, to look at the issues that they are facing so that we can look at solutions.
I guess if they win, you also win. I think that's the big thing, because you also need to show everybody that you are producing ethical, governed, and the right type of auditors that they are looking for.
Absolutely.
Now, you've spoken from an ACCA point of view, which I think is absolutely fantastic. But there's that saying about you can't take a gift horse to the pond. You can't make him drink, but you can take him there, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As a young person who's watching right now, who is yearning for this registered auditor status, what do you think they need to do for themselves also? Because ACCA can only do so much, but there must be a willingness from someone who also holds themselves accountable. So what do you think are those things that an individual must also have or want for themselves?
It's a profession that are normally equated to the medical space or field, Nicolette. To say, if you're a doctor, you need to understand that there's a number of sacrifices that you would need to do. There's a number of decisions that you would need to make that would not make you very popular.
Yes.
There would be decisions that you would need to take, thinking about the future.
Yes.
Of those that are coming behind you, the public that we are actually serving, because we're not serving ourselves, but we are serving the public. So there are those fundamental requirements that anybody that wants to come into this profession need to have. However, it is possible. It is really possible for anybody to become an accountant, to become an auditor, but it requires a certain level of discipline and a certain level of behavior.
I like that can-do spirit. You need to have the can-do spirit, man. It's important.
It's doable.
Ma'am Mkhabela, do we have a shortage of auditors in South Africa?
Yes, we are running short of auditors. Why? It's because they are being poached by the other countries, right? However, there is an opportunity to develop even more auditors within South Africa. And there isn't much that we can do in terms of retaining retaining those auditors, because the world is an oyster, right?
Yes. You can't stop someone from wanting to work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at our Global Talent Trends report, it actually tells you why most of these people are actually coming through to South Africa. First and foremost, how we speak. Yes. Anybody can actually hear our tonality, yes. Right? But I want to believe that we have the best universities that really develop the skills, but we also have the best workplace, that really develops these kids and give them the opportunity to do their workplace experience. And I think I also want to give credence to our current government, right, for really producing the Skills Development Act. Even though it has its own shortfalls, but there are positive things that we need to really see or recognize from the Skills Development Act, because I can be the best in university, yes. But I need to make sure that whatever skills that I've been or training that I have received from the university space, I'm able to apply that. And who is there to ensure that I'm able to work properly, I'm able to apply, the knowledge that I have attained from the university within the workplace. It's those people who are in the workplace. It's the HR departments, it's the training and development departments, but it is also those auditors and accountants who become mentors to these children. So yes, we are running short of auditors because we produce some of the best auditors in South Africa.
I mean, if you are going to be joining the ACCA journey, you are coming in with a mindset of I can work globally.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
It's fine. Even if we at least meet the demand, let's create a huge supply of these auditors, and I think that we'll do well as a country.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking about that, I'm also going to make a very big assumption that from a diversity and inclusion perspective, we also still have a bit of a underrepresentation there. How is ACCA going to tackle that specifically?
If you look at our statistics, just from an accounting perspective, 56% of our students and future members are females and Black, right? So from a diversity perspective, we want to believe that there's something right that we are doing. We can't deduce the results from an audit perspective because we don't have anybody that has registered at the moment.
Yes.
But we really strive on ensuring that we strike the balance to bring in people of color, but also to allow women who are taking this journey and supporting them throughout their journey. Not only for women, we support everybody.
Absolutely.
But what we are picking up is that females are actually much stronger, to stay on this journey and become accountants. So our statistics are very clear in terms of the gender balance, but also in terms of the color balance. So we have more people of color that are in ACCA. We still need to double check from a member perspective, but from a student perspective, those details are available, which we have also shared with IRBA as we're going through our accreditation requirements. And as you are aware, IRBA's mandate is also to transform the profession from an auditing perspective. So we are working quite closely to ensure that we balance the transformation agenda in South Africa.
Right. I mean, it's been quite an interesting conversation just to get some sight into, the pathway that you guys are now able to take your members on. And before I ask you the last question, it will be very amiss for me not to ask Portia a financial question. Do you have your own kids?
I have a daughter, 22-year-old daughter.
Oh, she's the perfect age. I mean, children of these days are coming into an environment that is exciting.
Yes.
Right? The opportunities are almost endless for
Absolutely.
them. Which means that making money, and I say this very brazenly, is actually a lot much easier than it was in the past.
Indeed.
But however, making money and keeping money are two different types of skill sets. So what do you teach her about keeping money? What is the most important lesson for you?
So I have a daughter who is an entrepreneur.
Ooh.
And by the way, she does makeup. So the next gig will be on you, Nicolette. And I'm sure she'll be very happy that I'm marketing her.
Oh, definitely.
Which is named after my late mom. It's Naniki Beauty.
Okay.
So as I was, raising her.
Yes.
And, they normally would take money going to school. And I've realized that she would save on a weekly basis.
Oh.
And when I looked at how much she has saved, every time I say, okay, why don't you use your money? She would say to me, no, mommy, it's not my responsibility to use my own money. That's my money.
Yes.
You need to give me your money because
Yes.
you are the parent.
Yes.
So I've picked up that she is financially savvy.
I love it.
In the sense that banks have actually been luring her to take credit. And she said to me, she will not definitely take a credit card. Instead, she wants to save.
Wow.
She is now saving towards buying her own car so that she can be able to move around,
do house calls,
etc., etc. I think one thing that I'm teaching her, Nicolette, which I believe that most of us have learned the hard way, is a relationship with money.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to credit. Clothing credit, those things are not necessary. But one thing that I've picked up that I have instilled in her is the fact that you don't need to wear a label.
Yes.
Dress up nicely as long as it fits you. You look
and
good.
It's comfortable.
And it's comfortable.
Absolutely.
But I'm also teaching her the value of saving, but also the value of investing as well. But what I've picked up is that she is financially savvy as compared to myself growing up. I mean, I put myself in her shoes at the age of 22. Everybody was giving me credit. But in the long run, those things are really not building our children.
Yeah.
But with her running her business as well, I'm also introducing her to the ACCA so that she understands financial literacy.
As we close off the conversation, what are some of your parting shots for ACCA members who are about to embark on the ADP?
The profession has opened and
Go for
opened
it.
for yourself.
Yes.
We did this for our ACCA members because they have been asking for it to say, yes, we are accountants, but we are not able to sign off because we don't have, accreditation with IRBA. And I think it's important for them to grab the opportunity. But I'm also calling on them to really become mentors to those that are coming. There's a Bible verse that I love so much that says, to him much is given.
Yes,
more is actually
required.
required and is expected. So I want to really make a clarion call to our members to say, as you grow, as you lift up, please do not kick off the ladder. Bring others with you. We are sitting with a huge future member database where people need to be signed off. Students need to gain that workplace experience. So I would really like to call on them to say, the world is your oyster now. We have this accreditation. Take it by the hand. We will be able to support them as they, navigate through the journey. But I also would like them not to lose the ethical issues or the ethical processes that we have trained them on. And we are relying on them to make sensible decisions, and where they need to challenge some of the issues that they are picking up within the clients that they are servicing. They should not be shy to raise those alarms and really be a force for public good as we stand for as ACCA.
Oh, fantastic. And that was Portia Mkhabela, who is cluster head of ACCA Southern Africa. I think the message is clear, it is to the point, it is crisp. Ensure that those ethics, that ethical nature that you have really shows up when you are working. I like what she began with in the beginning. She spoke about sometimes when you are a registered auditor, even when you're an accountant, you may need to make decisions that do not make you popular. So everything that you have been taught and trained on as an ACCA member, you need to make sure that it is showing in all the work that you're going to be doing. Because at the end of the day, this profession and this industry is there to service the people of South Africa. Thank you very much for tuning in, Portia. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. Always enjoy having a conversation with you. I will see you guys on the next one. But just in closing, in case you don't remember, nothing that we say on this channel constitutes as any financial advice. But if you are rather looking for financial advice, please speak to somebody who is certified and registered with the FSCA.